The zeros of a function are those input or inputs x such that the output is 0 or f of x is equal to 0. These are the points of the function that touches the x-axis, while the y-intercepts are the points of the graph of the function that touches the y-axis. So for example, ito yung graph ng function natin. So yung point na na-touch ng graph na ito sa x-axis, yan yung tinatawag natin na x-intercept. In this case, ito yung point na yon. And for the y-axis naman, yung point na na-touch ng graph ng function natin ay this point. This is now our y-intercept. Okay, so for now, we consider the function defined by negative 4x plus 2. We are going to find the following. Number 1, the zeros of the function, the y-intercept, if any, and we have to sketch the graph. Now, for the solution, first, we have to consider to solve for the zeros of the function. These are the points that touches the x-axis, meaning yung y natin dito is equal to 0. So, these f of x here are the y values, so we have to set that y, and we have to equate this to 0. So that's negative 4x plus 2 is equal to 0. Then you have to solve for x. Transpose this to the other side. That becomes negative 4x is equal to negative 2. Kasi nga, this one here is positive. So transpose ka doon, magiging negative. Then we have to divide both sides by negative 4. This will be divided by negative 4. So maka-cancel out yung negative 4 dito. So you are left with negative 2 over 4, and that can be reduced to 1/2 by dividing negative 2 to both the numerator and the denominator. That means for the x-intercept, no, if y is equal to 0, again, this is our y here. No? So our y here is this one. Ito naman yung x natin. Okay. So x is equal to, in this case, our x is equal to 1/2, and then our y here is set to 0. Okay, so our y-intercept is now at 1/2, 0. Now for the second part, we are asked to solve for the y-intercept. Okay, now to solve for the y-intercept, we have to set our x to 0 again. No, so to solve for the x-intercept, first thing here, we equate that y is equal to 0. Dito, kapag y-intercept yung hinahanap, we set that to x to 0. Okay, and then solve for y. Okay, so our y here is now negative 4x plus 2. So since our x is 0, substitute natin ito, no? Yung x to 0, that will become y is equal to negative 4 times 0 plus 2. And then, okay, negative 4 times 0 here becomes 0. So plus 2, that is equal to 2. Therefore, the y-intercept, or the point that touches the y-axis, is at the point 0, 2. So x is 0, y is 2. Okay. Now to sketch the graph of the function, we have to plot first the x-intercept. The x-intercept in this case is at 1/2, 0. Okay, so x is 1/2, x is 1/2, y is 0. Okay, now if this is our x is equal to 1, x is 1/2 is here. That means the x-intercept is at this point here. That's the point. This is the point negative, positive, I mean 1/2, 0. Okay. For the y-intercept is at 0, 2. Okay, so 0 for x, y is 2. Okay, 1, 2. This is now the point. This is now the point 0, 2. All right. As you can see, the function here, this one, f of x is equal to negative 4x plus 2. That is a linear function because the degree of x here is equal to 1. All right. So since it's a linear function, the function f is a line that passes through these 2 points. So if you're going to sketch that, that looks like this one here. It's a line that passes through 0, 2, and 1/2, 0. Let us now consider the next example. Consider the function f defined by f of x is equal to square root of x plus 3 plus 1. Then we are going to find all the zeros of f, the y-intercept, and sketch the graph of f. Okay. Now to solve for the zeros of f, we have to equate the f of x to 0. This is now the df of x. So equate that to 0. That will just become this one. And then transpose 1 to the other side. You will have square root of x plus 3 is equal to negative 1. And take note that the square root of a number, okay, itong square root of a number, this is always a positive or 0. So again, no, this is positive because that's the definition of the principal root. And on the right side, this one here is a negative number. Kasi nga, negative 1. And so, it is impossible that we can equate a positive number or a 0 to a negative number. It's not possible that we have that case, or there is no such thing as this case. That means kahit anong x value pa yung ilagay natin dito, it cannot be equal to a negative number. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, the function has no x-intercept. Okay? So, this means that the function has no x-intercept. Now, to solve for the y-intercept, we set our x be 0 and then solve for y. Okay? In this case here, y is equal to the square root 0 plus 3, okay, plus 1, and that is just equal to the square root of 3 plus 1. Right, so this means that the y-intercept is at the point 0 for x, and then y is at the square root of 3 plus 1. This is now our y-intercept. Okay, so third, we are asked to graph the or to sketch the graph of the function f. Okay, so we have to sketch the graph of the function f. So take note that our f of x is equal to square root of x plus 3 plus 1. And this graph here is defined, this function is defined provided that the radicand is greater than or equal to 0. Ibig sabihin, okay, the x plus 3 must be greater than or equal to 0, or we only pick values x that are greater than or equal to -3. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yung mga values ng x only are those that are greater than or equal to -3. Now, in order to visualize the function, you have to pick first the values that are greater than or equal to 3. So we may start at -3. We can also pick -2 or -1 up to when x is equal to 0, right? And then solve for y. So if x is -3, right? So if x is -3, okay, so if x is -3, y is equal to the square root of -3 plus 3 plus 1. That's the square root of 1 becomes 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. So, substitute na natin dito sa value ng y. So, when x is -3, the value of y is equal to 1. Okay? Then, using the same argumentation, no, for x is equal to -2, we will get when x is -2, the value of y is 2. That is because kung -2 ito, no? So kung -2 ito, that's -3 minus 2 square root of 1 plus 1, that is just equal to 2. And then when this is equal to -1, that is just the square root of 2 plus 1. Or in order for have values that are whole numbers, we can just write instead of 1, we can just pick, let's say, +1 for that. Kasi kapag +1, this one becomes square root of 1 plus 3. So square root of 4 is 2 plus 1, that is 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, so this one here becomes 3. And of course, whenever x is 0, that is our y-intercept now. So our y-intercept is at square root of 3 plus 1 for the value of y. Okay, so these are now our table of values. Okay, so next we are going to plot these points to an xy plane. Let's pick this one. Okay, so unahin muna natin itong -3 tapos y is equal to 1. This is now the point, -3, 1. Then for -2, 2, you have this point here, -2, 2. Okay, so somewhere here. And then for when x is equal to 1, okay, nandito yung 1 natin, no? The value of y is at 3. So you have this particular point here. When x is equal to 0, that's square root of 3 plus 1. So square root of 3 plus 1 is around 2.73. So nandito yan siya banda, no? More than that. So if you're going to follow these points, so the function that looks like this one here, okay?